Hey, everybody, welcome back to Oh My Word with Katie, the show where we hear from Christian writers, give you amazing book recommendations, and marvel at all the ways God shows up in words and stories. I'm your host, Katie Ginn, and I am back for part 2 of my conversation with Dana VanderLugt. And if you missed part 1 about Dana's novel in verse, Enemies in the Orchard, please go back and listen to part 1. But for part 2 today, we are discussing one of Dana's favorite classic children's books, Charlotte's Web, which I had the joy of rereading recently in preparation for this episode. Dana, welcome back to the show. I'm excited to talk about this book with you.
Me too. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah. So what made you pick this one?
Yeah. Well, I think that when we hear the word classic, our minds go right away to the books that are required reading in high school or college or beyond. But I was thinking about how I really believe that a really good children's book is for everyone. And I think Charlotte's Web is such a great example of a book that you can read at any age. And that I've read at several different stages and ages of my life. And every time I reread it, it speaks to me in a new way. And I find it very instructive as a writer.
Yeah. I mean, I had
Mhm.
read it, I guess, probably 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but had the little hardback with these same illustrations, and I would find myself before I turned the page being like, I think I remember what illustration is coming. It's so weird.
Aw.
um but it's just absolutely delightful. There's so many things that I know I didn't catch as an 8-year-old or however old I was reading this that adults can kind of chuckle at.
Yes.
So what do you remember the first time you read it? Or
Yeah, I was trying to think. I really think I had the book read aloud to me in school, is what I'm thinking. And then I have 3 sons, and I know I read it aloud to all of them. And, at different my 2 older sons, shared a bunk bed for a while, so it used to be, there's 2 of us, and then I know I read it to my younger son alone because he kinda schooled me in the first chapter when we finished reading. um, he said, "Well, when did they kill the pig?" And I said, "Levi, they didn't kill the pig, like, she just saved the pig." And then he, grabbed the book and turned back and he said, "But look, they were eating bacon for breakfast." And so, that was kind of a memory of, how we as adults too can, miss things, and here was a 7-year-old that was, so excited to show me what I had missed in the text. So and
Mhm.
then, when I was getting my MFA in creative writing, we studied different texts, and then we would write these short essays. And Charlotte's Web was one that I actually studied quite a bit.
Mhm.
I have a beautiful copy of a book called the Annotated Charlotte's Web. It's the book, but then all along the side, kind of the back history of E.B. White and how the book came to be, and some of the things that were in the original manuscript. And so I've studied it as a writer as well. And I think it's a great text that shows how to take take children seriously in a very age appropriate way. So
Mhm.
this book does not shield children from sad things, but it
Mhm.
also brings them a lot of joy in life as well.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing your book and this book have in common is that it's for children, but also there's death.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
death is right there. So,
yeah, for sure.
all
And
right.
that's one
So,
of the things that kind of makes it famous is it's one of the first children's books that really dealt with the topic of death.
oh wow,
Um, yeah,
I didn't know that. Huh.
yeah.
And I honestly had forgotten some of what happened. So I was like, oh wait, oh no.
Mhm.
But we kind of know the premise. Most people know Wilbur. He's the runt of the litter, and Fern, little girl, doesn't want him to get the axe, and so she begs her dad to let her raise this little pig. And then when he gets big enough, they ask Fern's uncle if he would like the pig, and so then he goes to live with Homer Zuckerman, Mr. and Mrs. Zuckerman. And, unbeknownst to Fern, the plan is still like, well, eventually we're going to fatten this pig up and kill him for Christmas dinner. And Charlotte the spider decides to put a stop to that by weaving words in her web. Um, it's just so brilliant and fun and charming.
Mhm.
But do you remember, when you first read it, was there something that just like, oh, I love this book because.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so hard to separate what I love from it now when I first
Uh-huh.
read it, but I can remember being young and just kind of being fascinated by stories and words and the power of words.
Mhm.
I I can remember like my first, in elementary school, I loved to write and my teachers always encouraged me. So there's this theme in the story that like words matter and words can save people, which is, I feel like what your podcast is about. So
Yeah.
I think like that theme by itself is so powerful of like how someone can use words and they can actually be something that would save them or give them life.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and even the words that Charlotte puts in the web, it starts off with just some pig, like, "Oh, that is some pig," and it's like, "Okay, well, that's." So then, Wilbur's trying to, like, act like he's a special pig, and then, then it gets to terrific, and then I think the last one is radiant, and
Mhm.
man, he is acting radiant, like, just it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think definitely speaks of the power of what others can say and how that impacts one's life. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, um
Yeah.
So you have read it multiple times. This is only my second time reading it. I kind of wish that I had read it again, like, in my college years. That probably would have been a good, like, I mean, probably could have read it more than that. But
Yeah.
are there
I think
ways? Go ahead.
I was just saying, I just think it's, like, the way that God shows up in the book in terms of like, it's really a story of salvation, right? And a story of friendship and sacrifice, and then I was thinking just recently, I'm the storyteller in my church, like, once a month with the younger kids, and we had the story of Jesus inviting the children
Mhm,
to come to him, and I think, like, this story is one of those things that, like, it I mentioned earlier, I love it because it takes children seriously in a way that I think God also does and Jesus did.
mhm,
So I just love that idea that, like, the children are not a bother, they don't need to be made to feel small, like, their feelings count, and I
mhm,
think this book really is kind of a testament to that idea that, um, kids want to deal and think through things and ask questions, and even though this book is so much fun, it
mhm,
leaves all that space um for for discussion and taking like even their grief that they might already have experienced as children seriously. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I also love how I remember. Okay, am I crazy? There was like a cartoon, like, movie made, wasn't there? Okay,
Yes, there
okay.
was a movie.
I didn't make that up. So
Yeah.
I just remember when watching that, how, like, nasty Templeton the rat was, and he's just such a
Yes.
great little villain, but he's not
Yeah.
he's not exactly a villain. He doesn't, like,
Yeah.
but he also doesn't have, like, some redemption arc, like, "Oh, Templeton is
No.
better in the," he's just Templeton, and you just
Yeah,
gotta deal
even
with him.
Yeah, even at the very end, like, when Wilbur's trying to talk him into, like, carrying, the sack of Charlotte's children back, Templeton still he's
Yeah.
kind of resistant and only does it when, really bribed. So but, yeah, I think you're right, like, he's a villain, and there's also something that's so human and, like, real about him that oh, there's that nuance, right? Like, I mentioned in the last episode, I'm such a character reader, and, like, there's great characters in this book,
Yeah.
and they're not all good or, well, I mean, Charlotte's pretty good,
Yeah.
but there's something that's, I think that's great about when you read about animals because they have all these, like you can put on all these human characteristics
Mhm. Mhm.
into them, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, at the same time, the children get to see the results of being
Mhm,
like Templeton and making these
mhm.
demands and then getting what you want. And well, you might not like what comes out of that because
Yes.
he's not a healthy rat.
No, he is not.
Oh my goodness. And then Charlotte, what struck me about her was, like, she loves Wilbur so much and she's gonna weave these words in her web to try to save him, but she kind of doesn't put up with crap from him. Like, she's like, "Okay, calm down, dry your
Yeah,
tears. I'm gonna do this now. Just chill."
yeah, yeah. There's a little bit of, when you're a kid, I don't know if you felt this way, but when I watched, like, Mary Poppins, I was like, she's good, but she's a little scary too, right? I think Charlotte has a little bit of that same quality. There's there's the wonder of her and also oh, there's a reality that's a little um more tense than I would, first
Mhm.
expect. So yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely I would definitely put her and Mary Poppins in the same in the same category of, like, tough love ladies.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Is there gosh, there's so many characters in this book, and I feel like even the ones we don't meet for very long, like the psychologist and, you know, even they are drawn so well. But is
Yeah.
there a character you relate to
Yeah.
most?
Yeah. I mean, I think at first glance, I wanna say Fern, but then I'm like, I'm not sure I was really that, um, brave or persistent as a child, right?
Mhm.
I just love that first scene where she kind of convinces her dad, she's like, "This she wants justice, the injustice of this."
Mhm.
And I really admire that in Fern, but I'm not sure that that was really me.
Yeah.
I think the person in the end I feel like I relate to most is Wilbur, and partially just because of his kind of he is the recipient of grace, right?
Mm.
He has to learn to kind of just accept this gift and then also kind of pass it on. So, my favorite word in the English language is grace, and I
Mm.
just think that the story, as I mentioned earlier, it is about salvation and redemption and sacrifice, but there's so much grace in it. And Wilbur, a lot of his job is just to accept that grace, even when he may not be as radiant as he's pretending to
Mhm.
be, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, even when you think about it I mean, and I kinda wanna be like, "Charlotte, give him some grace," because I mean, if you're a little pig and you can't get out and you know they're gonna kill you, I mean, I would be distraught, I would be
Mm,
inconsolable, and he literally, like, even the one time he tries to escape, he gets out through the loose board, well, they just nail the board shut
yeah,
better, and, I mean, he literally can't do anything to save
right,
himself. So,
right. Yeah.
yeah, um, I guess a pig or a sheep, kind of the same level of
Mhm.
ability there, like, they can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think oddly that speaks a little bit to we also in the end can't save ourselves either, right? There's something, yeah.
yeah. Is there a favorite passage that you'd like to
Oh,
Mhm.
well, I think one of the other things I think is so beautiful about this book is I love seasons, right? And if you read my first book, it takes
Mm.
place in one season, like one apple season. When I worked in publishing before I went into teaching, because I worked as an eighth grade English teacher, one of the things I most disliked about working in that cubicle all year was every day felt the same, right? Like in February felt a little bit like June once you were inside of that, cubicle with with the air conditioning on. So I love how this book is a testament to the seasons of life. And so one of the passages I really love, this is from the chapter entitled, oh, Last Day.
Mm.
And Charlotte and Wilbur are talking, and Charlotte is tired, but she says that she feels peaceful. And she's kind of assuring Wilbur, you're going to live a safe life. And she says, nothing can harm you now. These autumn days will shorten and grow cold. The leaves will shake loose from the trees and fall. Christmas will come, then the snows of winter. You will live to enjoy the beauty of the frozen world. For you mean a great deal to Zuckerman, and he will not harm you ever. Winter will pass, the days will lengthen, the ice will melt in the pasture pond. The song sparrow will return and sing. The frogs will awake. The warm wind will blow again. All these sights and sounds and smells will be yours to enjoy, Wilbur, this lovely world, these precious days.
Mhm.
I just think that passage is beautiful, but also just that idea that when Wilbur was saved, he got to experience not just a small, he got to experience a full, years of life and that change that happens every year.
Mhm.
And I know that you're down south. I'm living in the cold north, and our winters are so long and dark. And when that spring comes, and it's oh, it's every year it's a miracle, right? That
Mhm.
there's leaves on the tree and it's warm again. And I I love the seasons, and sometimes I struggle with the seasons, like like my own seasons of life, like letting go of one season and embracing another. So, as you said, like this is those books that you read as a child, and you might, that passage might just kind of like phew, over your head, but you read as an adult, and you're like, oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that beauty of the seasons.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because how y'all think about winter is probably how we think about summer.
Yeah, yeah,
Because, I mean, right now it's been a little cooler than normal because it's been so rainy. But
yeah,
like normally by the end of August, we're all just like, can we have January already? Like, can we please just anything
yeah,
with this heat? So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, we never want summer to end, like, never end. Every fall, like, fall is so beautiful, and also I'm so sad.
Because you know what's coming.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man. So is there you talk about this as this is basically a story of salvation, which is absolutely
Mm,
true. And salvation for the runt of the litter, which I think is
mhm,
another it's just another
mhm,
layer of like he's not even supposed to live past his first
mhm,
day, you know.
mhm.
But is there a scripture that comes to mind for you related to this book?
Yeah. So, I think 2 come to mind. One is just that very, commonly quoted, scripture from Ecclesiastes, based on the quote I just read about, like, for everything that there is a season and time for every matter under heaven. So
Mhm.
just like that attention to the seasons. But the other scripture that came to my mind is, so my book is obviously takes place in an apple orchard. So this was a scripture verse that my grandma had in a plaque in our house, and it said, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pitchers of silver."
Hmm.
And I think that idea of like, once again, going back to the power of words, like, so this kind of brings together Charlotte's Web and my own book too, again, but that idea of um, words matter and the words that, like Charlotte's words mattered and changed Wilbur's life,
Mhm.
and how our words matter.
Mhm.
And um, I think often, like when I'm writing, sometimes there's this like it's like not coming from me. Like I feel like I'm a vehicle at times, and I think like what a honor and privilege that is. And also it comes when you just like show up,
Mhm.
right? Like I sometimes I'm not very good at prayer, but I feel like for me, writing is a form of attention, and attention is a form of prayer, right? So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pitchers of silver.
That's beautiful.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah,
Proverbs? Is that I mean that is
yeah, it's Proverbs.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. It's a
yeah,
beautiful image.
yeah,
And of course, the book, Charlotte's Web ends with like talking about, how rare it is to find someone who's both a good friend and a good writer. And Charlotte is both. And I was
oh.
like, oh man, E.B. White giving a shout out to writers. Like,
I know. Yeah,
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 it's so good. So if you could, for the adults in the room, I think, okay, I read that as a child. I'm not convinced,
mhm,
I want to read the next thriller or whatever. I don't want to read
yeah.
Charlotte's Web. If you could sum up why it's worth your time, pick this
Mm.
book back up.
Well, I think number 1, like, go back and discover all you probably missed the first time, right? And this is not a giant time commitment, right? Like, you can get this book in a day or 2.
Yeah.
Um, but I think once again, like, this book has universal themes that would speak to somebody of any age. And,
Yeah.
so the author, Catherine Rundell, who wrote, oh, it's gonna leave my brain right now, but she has a bestseller out right now, and I'm gonna have to look it up while I talk.
No,
She
that's
has
fine.
this great little book called, Why You Should Read Children's Books Even Though You're So Old and Wise.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, and she talks in there about, how when she's writing for herself now, but she's also writing for herself as a 12-year-old, right? And how, um, it's healing in some ways. And I think for adults to go back and reread a book that spoke to you as a child, there's something that is like healing for yourself now, but also it's like paying attention to that child that still lives within you.
Mm,
And that little book that why you should read children's book, even though you're so old and wise. I mean, I bought a copy that's like this tiny, and it's delightful. So I would definitely
Oh,
recommend reading
yeah.
that one as
I've
well.
been hearing about that one. I think I need to pick that up.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's so true. I mean, you think about this book or Narnia or The Hobbit or Peter Pan. I mean, these beautifully, beautifully written books that, like, yes, you want your child to read them so that then they'll continue this love for reading and it
Mhm.
sparks their imagination. But then, like, if you only read it as a child and you
Yeah,
never revisit it, you're missing so much.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
it's absolutely
yeah.
gorgeous.
Well, and as a middle grade author, when I wrote my book, like, yes, I wrote it for like 8th and ninth and 10th graders, but I also wrote it for the adults that I knew would read it with those
Mhm.
readers, right? So
Mhm.
you um you hope that, a book that might be like classified as children's book, really if for it to stand up well, it has to be one that adults love as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh, and I just looked up Catherine Rundell's book is Impossible Creatures. So
Oh,
that's
I
the one
didn't
that
know she wrote both of those things. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah,
Very cool.
she's a British author, and the book, like, has like, an international bestseller, so, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Well, Dana, thank you so much. This has been such a
Yeah.
delightful conversation. Parts 1 and 2. And again, y'all, if you missed part 1, please go back and listen. Um, and yeah, we will continue next month with I'm not going to tell you who it is because I've learned in podcasting not to do that until you've already recorded it, just in case something happens. But we have another great author, and we'll be discussing her work and a favorite classic of hers next month. But in the meantime, I wanted to thank our sponsor for today's episode, BCI, Business Communications Inc. They are located right here in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They are a family owned, Christian owned business. And what they do is IT. They are my IT people. They help keep me connected and online so I can record and edit and produce this podcast with a team of one, basically. I have my social media manager that I'm very grateful for, but BCI is great. And if you're interested in using them for your IT needs, you can find them at bcipeople.com. So, y'all, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends. Please give us both a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts because that gets us more visible in that world. And in the meantime, happy reading.